Hello and welcome to another of our TBK Cooks series, and this is another of the Floyd in India recipe book dishes, and this one is called chicken Cafrael. And for this you will need some cinnamon sticks, coriander seeds, black peppercorn, cloves, salt, a red onion, 3 cloves of garlic, 4 chicken breasts, some olive oil, some should be white wine vinegar, but I'm using apple cider vinegar, and some coconut oil. And it's a very nice, easy dish. It's taking the chicken breasts, coating them in a green masala, and then frying them, or you could roast them if you wanted to. So let's get on with it. Let's make our masala. I'm going to start with my 3 cloves of garlic. I'm just going to put them under the knife like this. Bang. And this will separate out the skin, which I'll just remove. And now we're just going to chop it finely. Into like a little dice. Make sure it's quite small, because this is going to be the coating for the outside of the chicken. So I don't want a big piece of garlic in my mouth. Okay, so that's the first ingredient that's going into our big bowl. So, along with the garlic, we're going to add a teaspoon of coriander seeds, a teaspoon of black peppercorns, three or 4 cloves. I always love opening the cloves because it's so aromatic. A small piece of cinnamon, and you'll notice this is all quite bitty stuff. This is like a small piece of wood, this cinnamon stick. The peppercorns are round and hard, and the coriander, so we're going to have to grind this down. And we're going to add 5 green chilies. So you'll probably see me prepare the chilies on another of these Floyd blogs. They're in quite a few of the dishes. We're cutting it lengthways. We're removing the chili seeds, which are the hot part. If you want your chicken Cafrael to be more spicy, leave the seeds in. Remember not to touch the seeds with your hand. If you can help it, use the knife, because otherwise you'll burn yourself when you touch your face or whatever. Often people say to me when I'm cooking now, where's Chester? He's actually right underneath the camera. In fact, he's in danger of pushing the camera over in a minute. We will include him in just a second, I promise. He's a star in his own right now, aren't you, Chester? It's, what day is it, Chester? Monday evening, and there was a big storm in Manila yesterday, typhoon, and they decided to close all the schools and the government establishments and offices. So I was supposed to renew my tourist visa yesterday, but I couldn't today. this afternoon. I just couldn't keep my eyes open any longer. And Chester was the same. Okay, so there's our chili. We would also normally add coriander, and we'd normally also have, or cilantro as they call it in Tagalog. I haven't got any cardamom at the moment. And then it says add some white wine vinegar, but it doesn't say how much. Mr. Floyd is very vague in his recipes. I'm using apple cider vinegar, so I'm just going to give it a swoosh. How about that for a measure? Ooh, you can smell that one. And then we're going to squash the hard ingredients, the peppercorns and the coriander. So I'm going to use my pestle from my pestle and mortar. I've used this glass bowl rather than the pestle and mortar so that you can see while I'm filming. It does actually say in the recipe add enough vinegar to make it a moist paste, so not too dry, not too liquidy. So I'm just crushing the coriander seeds and the black peppercorns and the cloves, just to release some of the flavour that's in those, and the cinnamon sticks. We want all the flavours from all these different ingredients to come together. It also says you should add a little salt, so we'll do that. And I like this dish, it's nice and easy, because what we're going to do is we're going to coat the chicken breasts with this masala, green masala. So Jhoanna got for me 4 beautifully big chicken breasts, single ones, so 2 double breasts. And I have removed the skin, and I've removed, there was a bit of bone on each one. And I put that into a saucepan with some onion, some pepper, some bay leaves, and I made a chicken stock, which we use in another dish. And then the bits of skin and bone I fed to our cats, and they loved it. So nothing goes to waste in this dish here. So I made some incisions down here, and I'm now going to just shove the little bits of the chili and the mix inside these cuts, so that effectively the masala is going inside the chicken. But rather than, you know, butterflying it, cutting it down the middle, we're inserting it down the side. If you saw my roast beef recipe, you'll see that I did garlic incisions and put garlic into the side of the roast beef. So it just adds flavour to it as it's cooking. So rather than just being a chicken breast fried, it's a chicken breast with a green masala. And the vinegar, you know, will add to the flavour, and the chilies will kind of explode, and it'll be a very flavoursome dish. But, you know, this isn't difficult, doesn't take very long. Says he. I'm now going to tell you that you have to leave this to marinate for 1 hour. So again, this is another of those recipes where you should read ahead. I've underlined, because I was going to have this for my dinner tonight, but it's 9:30 at night now, and if I leave it to marinate for an hour, that'll be 10:30. I'm not going to be eating till 11 o'clock, so I don't think I can wait that long, because we had lunch at it was about 12:30, I think, when Frithie and Noel and I had lunch. We had the mutton stew, and they said, can we try some for breakfast, and we'll see what it's like, and if we like it, we might have some more. And they loved it at breakfast, as I knew they would. And so we finished off the mutton stew for lunch. So lamb, mutton, or tupa as they call it in Tagalog, is one of those dishes that very few Filipinos have had, and when they do have it, they really, really love it. Okay, so the time is on, And we've just got one other little thing that we can do while we're waiting for it to marinate. This little bit of the video is for Noel and Frithy, my dog sitters once a week. They come and look after Chester, take him out for a walk. Unfortunately it was raining today, so they couldn't. So when they're indoors, they run up and down the stairs with him, throw his plastic bone he has, so he gets exercise. Because it's very important with Labradors to keep those back thighs, hips fit. They have a tendency to become overweight and then they can't use their back leg. So Keith Floyd, who wrote the recipe book, said that this dish, and he travelled all over India to put these recipes together, is very nice served with a tomato and onion salad. And he makes it very simply, as I'm just going to do now, by taking the tomatoes. We've got some nice ripe tomatoes here, and just slicing them like this. Try not to get all the juices to come out, because as I say, they are quite ripe. And I need to be a bit careful because I've still got a few bits of chilli left here on the chopping board. The great advantage of having the chopping board by the sink is that you can just wipe it down into the sink. Okay, I'm going to try it in half. There you go, that's slightly easier. If you chop, if you have a flat side of what it is you're chopping, like half of tomato, just slightly easier to chop it. It won't move on the board. Unfortunately, as I say, this is very ripe, so as I put the knife in, it's squishing a lot. It's a technical term. Squish! I hope you like all our vocabulary. I have a load of Filipino friends, and I asked them how they learned their English. They have really, really good English. And some of them said by watching American movies. And then they say things like, "Hey dude," and I say that's not English. But I'm not going to go into that debate now, because Evan has proven to me that dude was actually an English word many centuries ago. Oh my goodness. One of the things about editing my own videos now is that I very quickly pick up on things like whether it's exactly in focus or not, which Frithy picked up on the video we saw this morning, and also if something takes too long, like cutting those tomatoes, I cut it and edit it very quickly, because the attention threshold of people these days, because they're watching these reels on Facebook or TikTok, you know, very short pieces of film, and someone talking about tomatoes for half an hour is very boring. So let's move quickly over to the onion, which we are going to slice, and we're going to mix that with the tomato, and then we're going to use that to put the chicken on top of. So we're going to place it down on the chopping board. We're going to hold our fingers like a claw, and we're going to take off the two ends. We're going to slice around the side, remove the outer skin, and I love these nice little red onions. We have them a lot here in the Philippines. It's actually quite difficult to get the big brown onions nowadays, but every little sari store or corner shop has these red onions, and the thing I love about them is they write the price on the outside individually for each onion. They're about 6 pesos per small onion, and you know they're freshly, locally grown. I've got the full camera gear today. I've got the tripod, I've got the light behind me, because I noticed the other day that some of the mutton stew wasn't very clear because it wasn't enough lighting. Unfortunately, the room lighting here in the kitchen isn't quite enough, even though we've had new lights fitted. So I have to keep remembering to move the camera and reset the angle and everything for each shot so that you can see the bowl with the tomatoes in. No point talking about putting onion on the tomatoes if you can't see. How about that? Does that look quite nice? I think I'm going to put one more onion. Just in case you wonder what we do, you know, for the hour while the stuff is marinating after we made the salad. We're preparing things for tomorrow, and this is some fresh pineapple chunks. I get a fresh pineapple, they cut off the outside for me, and then I just slice it into chunks. And Chester just loves pineapple. As you can see, you can tell I still have some in my hand. He's just finished his bowl, which he's holding on to for dear life. So he loves pineapple, he loves strawberries, and they're on the list of things that are good for dogs as well. So he has top breed puppy food in the morning with chicken liver, and again at night time. Remember, he gets up 4 o'clock in the morning to go pee-pee, so he has his breakfast at 4 a.m, same as me, and then he has his dinner at 4 p.m, same as me. I know, very strange. And then of course now we've come downstairs at 10 o'clock in the evening after our nap, and he's hungry, so hence I just gave him a little bit of pineapple. And me, I'm going to have some strawberries, fresh from Baguio. So 1 hour later, it's now 11:30 at night. I've never been up this late before. So we've got our pan on the stove, we've lit the gas, we've poured in our coconut oil. I'm just giving it a quick twirl to make sure that it's soaking up all the vinegar. And now I've got a bit left, so I'm going to pour this over the top. So I'm now going to take my wooden spatula and turn it over. We don't want it to be too burnt on one side. Chester's now woken up, because you can smell food. For my Christmas present, they didn't buy it for my birthday, is a temperature probe. So you can actually put it inside the chicken or the meat that you're cooking and check it's fully cooked inside. Because quite often, particularly with microwave cooking these days, the outside is cooked and brown, but the inside is still raw, and that's where your food poisoning bacteria will be living. So always make sure the food is thoroughly cooked through. I think this looks very attractive, you know, the green and the peppercorns and the chilies, the chicken, and these are beautiful pieces of chicken, very juicy, big. That's why they're taking a long time to cook. So well done to Jhoanna, who does all my chopping for me, for getting some beautiful pieces of chicken to work with. Chester, of course, is ever hopeful of finding food. Well, there we go. That's the finished dish, our chicken Cafrael, together with our tomato and our onion salad. You'll notice that in the recipe book, Floyd's India, his is a little bit more green, and the reason for that is that he's used some coriander, cilantro, as they call it here in the Philippines, and also some cardamom pods. So that would just have made it a little bit more green on the outside. But I think that looks pretty attractive. And we'll do the tasting tomorrow, and we'll let you know how it tastes. So thanks again to Keith Floyd for his wonderful recipe book here, Floyd's India. And special thanks to Phil and Di Gregory, who bought me this back in 2016 for Christmas. And I've been working my way through it. I've got one more dish I'm going to make for you in this little series we've been doing this week, and that's called kulfi. And kulfi is a wonderfully sweet, rich, creamy sort of ice cream. And I made this before, and it's rather delicious.
So now I tried the, what do you call this, Tatay?
Chicken Cafrael.
Chicken Cafrael. So I tried this. Nice, spicy, and also the tomato salad. Nice.